Hey, what's up, everybody? It's attorney Chris Waggener back again to do another Lawyer Reacts. Just like in all the other videos I do, I'm going to watch another cops video, which I haven't seen yet, so I don't know what it's gonna have on it, and I'm just going to give you my take on it. You know, good, bad, ugly. You know, why are the cops doing what they're doing? How is the suspect making it better, making it worse? You know, is it a good stop? Is it a bad stop? You know, whatever it might be, I'll just give you my opinion on it. So. If you like it, leave me a like. If you want to see more stuff like this, I'm making releases every Thursday. Give me a subscribe, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, looks like we're in Vegas for the
born and raised in Las Vegas, and it's kind of one of those dream jobs that you always hear about. After high school, I did 4 years in the Marine Corps as a rifleman, and was able to come back here and get on the department. It's been great. We got some good days and sometimes some bad days, but there's never a dull moment being a police officer out here.
Never a dull moment.
All right, so just ran this plate and then came back stolen. So we're going to make contact with them.
Investigating a stolen plate. All right, so automatically issues that I'm thinking of right now is I'm assuming that somebody called this in. That's how I finds out about vehicle with a stolen plate. So which vehicle are we talking about here? Is it the one in the foreground? Is it one over here on the side? We don't know, but also it doesn't appear that anybody's in the vehicle itself. So if anybody exercises their right to remain silent and denies being the person involved with the vehicle, it's going to be really hard for this officer to make an arrest here.
Here. Downtown. Put your hands in the sky.
All right, why is there a pistol?
Drop what's in your hands and get your hands in the sky. Come here. Hands up. Do what I tell you to do now.
Wildly inappropriate.
Hands up.
What did this guy do? All right, so we haven't seen anything. We don't know other than what this cop's video is showing us, right? So maybe we're missing some stuff. But to me, looks like this guy, who we don't know anything about this guy. And as far as I know, maybe the cop will add more to it as we get into it, but it looked like he was on the other side of that fence there at his domicile, which we can only assume is his domicile. I don't know if it's his. That's the thing. What if he's the owner of that home? So this guy who could be the owner of this home is hanging out outside of his home when this cop randomly pulls a gun on him and starts ordering him to come out, put his hands up, and I'm assuming that he's about to get detained as well. That means he's going to get put into handcuffs. So right off the bat, I don't like the way this one's going. He's going to run though, make it worse for himself. Now, real quick before they start this chase, it is not illegal for you to run from an illegal stop from a cop. However, it's never really a good thing. You should never, in my opinion, there's not very many situations where you should run from cops. Just let them do whatever they're going to do. Also, when you run, it makes you look guilty.
Hey, better stop, man. I'm going to catch you. Southbound Laurel, HMA, heavy build, gray shirt, tan pants, going westbound now. Cross Palm, let's get K9.
All right, so he's calling the dog in.
Get on the ground. You think you can outrun me? Get on the ground. Hands out to your side. Don't move. Jude in the center. One at gunpoint. Cross your feet.
Better than getting the dog on you. This guy's like, he runs too much.
Don't move.
Fleeing and eluding is generally regarded as a felony in most jurisdictions. So when you run from the cops, it's fleeing and eluding.
You got any weapons on you?
No. Yeah, I think a knife.
Your knife? Code 4. One in custody.
Sit up.
Hey,
Kick this knee under you. Just like that. On the count of 3, we're gonna roll. You're gonna stand, all right?
Okay, hold on. Okay, go.
1, 2, 3. Let's walk over to Mark.
All right, so let's find out what's really going on.
hey, relax, man. Oh, you're hurt now?
Have a right out breath, man.
That's why we don't run.
Colorado plate.
Reach in your pockets.
Oh, no,
PSU's on it. Oh, imagine that. It's like meth. You ever been arrested before, man?
Yeah.
For what?
Possessions.
Possession of what?
Man.
He gestured to it too, so it is meth.
Makes sense. What else?
Pistol vehicle. The incident with firearm.
All right. Cool.
All right, what we're gonna do, we're gonna sit in the car for a minute, let you catch your breath, and then my partner's gonna talk to you.
So we're searching this guy after we took him into custody. It looks like methamphetamine. Let's get that clear crystal-like look to it, which is consistent with meth. And plus, he's been arrested for it before.
I want to know about the stolen vehicle. I don't care about the meth that much.
Our problem-solving unit did a search in the car. This has got his
security number in there.
Trunk.
Trunk?
Yeah.
Well, it has his info in it, but it also has his two cards in it.
From different people.
Yeah, so it has his social on here, his debit cards in here. So if you want to link this to him too.
Just these two are the only ones that aren't his?
That aren't his, yeah.
So they found the wallet in the trunk.
You okay? Okay. You seem a little tired. You out of breath? Why'd you run, man?
Because I don't want to go to jail for child support, man.
For child support?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna outrun me, or?
No, that's why I gave up. You know, I'm like thinking about it.
Whose car is that, man?
Friend from the apartments where I was staying at right now.
It's a friend's car?
Yeah, well, my girlfriend's friend's car.
Exercising, he should have exercised his right to remain silent.
It's a rental?
Yeah.
Did you rent it?
Jacob, I don't know his last name.
Jacob. So this dude named Jacob lets you drive it, and you come down here to a friend's house.
He's gonna leave me some money, you know. Because like I said, I lost my job.
You don't know where the house is.
No, I was trying to find out. That's why I pulled out of the other.
So you came down here to get money from a friend that you don't know where they live. All right, man. Hey, what's up with the little baggie of stuff you had in your pocket?
All right, so why am I hung up on the car being stolen? The reason is because that's how the police come into contact with this guy, right? They weren't driving down the road and saw him doing something illegal and then stopped him. They weren't driving down the road and he's speeding and then they stopped him. They got a call that there was a stolen car. He didn't give us any more of the details as to how to find this stolen car. Like maybe there was a license plate, make and model, last known location was, at the house where they went to. And not only that, but let's just say that for the moment, the car that they found was actually the car that was stolen. He wasn't in the vehicle when they initially made contact with him. He was out of the vehicle. So just because you're a person or there's a person around a stolen vehicle doesn't mean that that's the person who stole the vehicle. It doesn't mean that you can stop that person, investigate them, detain them, seize them to do an investigation. You have to have more. There has to be more facts that they're seeing that would indicate to them that the person that is around that vehicle or is in the vehicle is actually the one who stole it. Now, him running doesn't help. And, most cops are going to chase somebody that runs from them, regardless of whether or not they have good reason to do it. I mean, generally speaking, like taking a step back from the law, generally speaking, most people don't run from the cops if they haven't done something. But the interesting thing is that when they asked him, like, hey, why did you run from us? He said, because I have back child support. He didn't say anything about the car being stolen, right? And to me, that kind of goes to what I've been saying is that if he hadn't talked about the car, being a friend that was letting him borrow it or whatever from the apartment complex down the street or whatever, it would have sounded like that he ran from them for a completely different reason than the stolen car, which would lend credibility to the fact that they had stopped the wrong guy. But because he kept talking, he didn't exercise his right to remain silent, which is what he should have done. Now he's confessing to basically the crime. Maybe not confessing, but he's putting in the pieces for these police officers to bring it all together, which is he stole a vehicle, he's got the meth on him, and he's got back child support payments. So even though the stop on this one I think was questionable, and I think that if I was defense attorney on this one, I'd have to do some reading on this just to see what the specific case law says. But I would probably challenge this one based on what the 911 operator told him specifically, what the caller who called in said. Because if the stop was bad, that means the running isn't admissible, the meth isn't admissible, the admission that he had the car isn't admissible, and the back child support payments also aren't admissible. None of that becomes admissible. We call it fruit of the poisonous tree. And so that's why the approach is so important for police officers. The way they engage with the suspects has to be legal. Otherwise, the entire stop is destroyed.
I'll get there.
That was some personal use.
Why didn't you throw? How come you threw that Oh, how come you didn't throw that, but you threw your hat?
I didn't throw my hat. My hat must have flew away from me. You know what I'm saying?
Just from running so fast.
Yeah. I didn't even know my hat was gone.
How much meth is in there?
Gram maybe.
No, it's more than a gram. Like 2, maybe 3 grams.
Not so much.
What's up with all these debit cards?
That's my sister's card.
So why do you
Wait,
have
he needs to be
their
quiet.
debit cards? Not
Because we were doing Uber last time we went shopping. You know,
you don't need a card for Uber.
my sister's at the house. You mean?
Well, just I mean, you got all these. No, who's this guy?
That idea I found it.
Yeah, you just found it. You found it, and this is your girlfriend. This is your sister. This is your whoever.
Those two right there, I found.
Who? This? You found these?
Yeah, those two at Fremont.
You found them on Fremont.
And the floor.
So you just picked them up and put them in your wallet.
I mean, I've just been roaming around the streets, you know, for the past.
And these two are.
That's my sister and my girlfriend. I mean, you can even give her a call too. You know what I mean?
So what are these debit cards?
Have you ever ran from the police before?
So it looks like he's got a couple of debit cards and a couple of other IDs, it's pretty sketchy. Usually people that get busted for crimes involving fraud, dishonesty, things like that, petty theft, grand larceny, that kind of thing. Those are the types that have stuff like what he's got with him. So people like that, in my experience, when I've represented those types, they lie about everything. So to me, even though he's not being charged right now with any fraud crimes, which I don't know what the laws are like in the state of Nevada, but it would not surprise me if they have some, counterfeit licensing crimes, things like that. That's what this cop's trying to sniff out right now, is to see if there's anything more, because he's more than likely up to no good with those licenses, with those debit cards.
No.
This is the first time we've
It's
ever
pretty
ran
easy.
for
He
the
can just call, identify
Really?
the people on the license and on the
How'd that work out
debit
for
card,
you?
and call them up and see if they loaned him. 'Cause that's
Tired
what his
now.
story is. His story is that he's borrowed from his
Going to
wife
jail
and his sister
tired.
or whatever.
I'm just glad I cleared before I ended up at the hospital, you know, for the asthma attack.
You glad what?
I'm glad I stopped before I ended up at the hospital for an asthma attack.
Hey, we're going to get going here, so we'll let you know that you're getting charged with, all right? Possession of a stolen vehicle, possession of a controlled substance, and obstructing a public officer. You're going to get charged with that, too.
Obstructing a police officer. My final takeaway on this one is that if United States citizens all have a right to be free from unreasonable searches and seizures, and they also have the right to remain silent, which is a cliched thing, and it gets thrown around a lot, but it really is an important right to have when anybody that's a United States citizen is being investigated for criminal activity. In this particular situation, what bothers me is the fact that the person that was ultimately arrested seemed to, at the very beginning of the stop, be on the other side of a fence at what can only be described as someone's domicile, whether it's his or somebody else's. That's a problem for the police officer, because he has to try to figure that out. In order for the police officer to investigate that person, he's got to go get a warrant from the judge, because in order to do so, he would have to cross over the fence into that person's home. We all have the right to own property here in America. That said, though, this guy did cross back out of the fence and came over to what I guess is the stolen vehicle. And the police officer made the stop at that point. He pulled a gun on him immediately. I mean, that's detained. If a police officer pulls a gun on you and points it at you and tells you not to move, you've been detained. Even though he did decide to run. And then also I wanted to talk about the right to remain silent. I mean, there's other things in this that I have issues with, but the two big ones are the Fourth Amendment seizure. I think that the cop didn't have enough evidence to make the stop, to make the detention. But then on top of that, the right to remain silent really is going to, or did, I'm sure this is an older cops, is going to bite this guy in the butt. He didn't confess, but he said, he put himself in the car. Up until the suspect started talking about, like, oh, I borrowed it from a friend, this and that and the other thing, and they found the wallet in the back of the car. They couldn't put him in the car, actually. And so even though it might have been a stolen vehicle, so what? He's a guy that's around the car. Like the police, the states, they have the burden of proof to prove that the car was stolen by that particular individual. And just because you're around a vehicle doesn't mean that you stole the vehicle, that you've been in the vehicle. So, him waiving his right to remain silent and talking to the police didn't do him any favors here. So, that said, though, I mean, he didn't seem like a good guy. Probably it sounded like he stole the vehicle based on the fact that he had all those IDs and cards with him too. He's probably lying about everything. He had the drugs on him as well. He's got back child support. So sounds like a good guy to have off the streets. And did that one hold up? Could have. Depends on what the 911 operator told the police officer before they came on the scene. Anyway, I hope you liked it. And if you stayed this long, give me a like. And if you want to see more content like this, I'm releasing every Thursday. Hit that subscribe button. Take it easy.